Hello and welcome to another episode of SEOPRESSO. My name is Björn Darko and today I'm talking to Eli Schwartz about product-led SEO. Eli is growth advisor and SEO strategic consultant and has helped companies like Tinder, WordPress, Coinbase, GameTime, Zendesk, Quora, and many more. He is book author of Product-Led SEO, a book that digs deep into the logic and theory of SEO and perfectly bridges the gap to product management. He used to be the director of growth at SurveyMonkey, where he led the SEO strategy of the world-famous survey product. SEOPRESSO is brought to you by Searchmetrics, a SEO and content platform that enables companies to plan success based on data and helps online marketers to really reach their goals. If you want to learn more about Searchmetrics, visit searchmetrics.com and don't forget to subscribe to the SEOPRESSO podcast on Spotify and everywhere else where there are good podcasts. Hi, Eli. Happy to have you on the show.
It's great to be here. I'm a huge fan of Searchmetrics, so we should talk about it.
Amazing. In a nutshell, this amazing book, Product-Led SEO, is a strategy, is actually focusing on product-led SEO, which is a strategy that concentrates actually more on improving product quality, that sees SEO as a product in and of itself that just happens to generate traffic actually by its side, right? Whereas if you're considering SEO as a marketing channel, you will not only be compared to other marketing channels that are far more predictable, by the way, you might also always run behind your goals because I believe you cannot influence product quality from a marketing standpoint. I mean, for performance channels, that's clear. You can just build a landing page and put it behind the ad. And, sometimes that's independent from the platform. But the focus for SEO from a marketing standpoint is just like different, I would say, right? What I really like about the book, though, is that it's not just written for SEOs. It's actually a book that explains SEO to executives, general managers, product and engineering teams, and everybody actually that is not familiar with SEO, but it brings the value of SEO to it. Is that kind of right how I explain the book?
Yeah. And thank you for having the book. So the reason I wrote the book is because there's so much SEO misinformation, and executives in particular are not going to really inform themselves by listening to your podcast. They're not going to inform themselves by going to search blogs. They're not going to read any sort of material around SEO that doesn't come in a big magazine and like it's going to be summarized. The approach to SEO they're familiar with is the marketing approach, and that they've heard from someone and they've hired SEO in the past. I've even had executives ask me what I'm going to do for Yahoo. Like they're just not informed that it's not a thing anymore. So you have to update them. So like we can't fault them for not knowing what SEO is of today. So I wrote the book to change that conversation. So now when I talk to potential consulting clients and I explain to them what we're going to be doing for SEO, they say, well, that's not at all what the last agency said, or that's not at all what our employees said. Where do I learn more? And now I have a book to point them to. This is SEO of the future. I have not invented anything whatsoever. I think this is what everyone should be doing. I think folks are going to discover that marketing-based SEO is not going to work as well anymore because it's a changing world. And like there was, recent Google news around images and Google Lens and dynamic search and like marketing SEO is not going to work when people don't type keywords into a search browser anymore. It's not going to work when the results become so dynamic. So this is the future. I just was the first one to put it in a book. So, and the other books out there, like The Art of SEO is a fantastic book, but it's 1,000 pages. No executive's going to read that on their commute.
Exactly. And thank you very much for taking the time and write a book there, because for me, it was really, a mind blower to read all of this, because the way how I practice SEO, that's what I told you in the beginning as well, was actually always like that. Just now it now just has an official Bible, actually, which I also think that everybody within the company should read. But yesterday I read a LinkedIn post from you, which I really like the quote is, if you're a digital marketer, are you building an actual 2020 plan, or are you just working off of someone else's roadmap? And I think that pretty much in a nutshell describes what product-led SEO is, right? And you also mentioned it in the book where you said the key part of building a product-led SEO strategy is actually that, it is a product that is being built and that should be approached the same way any other product is, right? Can you elaborate a bit on it and tell us how you would approach a product-led SEO strategy if you join a company or you are being an in-house in a company?
So I think the key thing to realize about product-led SEO is so first of all, marketing-led SEO is, and I love that you saw that LinkedIn post. Marketing-led SEO, your goals for a year are going to be like, oh, this year I got 1 million visits. I'm going to add 10% on that. That's my goal. I'm going to get 1.1 million. No other team does that. The other teams, the performance marketing team says, you gave me $1 million last year. I want $2 million this year. Here's going to be my plan. Here's how I'm going to spend it. That's a plan. That's not like a finger in the air. This is what I'm going to do, right? Like the SEO teams do. Now, if you have a product and you're actually building something for SEO, now you can say your metrics and your plan for the year are completely different. It's not, I'm just going to get 10%. It's going to be, I'm building a product. I'm going to make 1,000 pages. Here's how you're going to measure me. Are these pages going to be created, first of all? Are they going to be indexed? Are they going to, are users going to find them? Are we going to generate page views for them? Are we going to generate conversions? Are people going to spend time on the site? Are they going to fill out leads? So like that becomes like a much more dynamic goal for the year. So a product-led SEO really is, instead of saying, I'm going to write a blog post and that is my SEO, product-led SEO is saying my content is my product. I have a user here. I've identified who the user is that's going to be finding me on search. And by the way, when it's product-led SEO, there is not always a user on search, right? For many B2B SaaS companies, I don't think there necessarily is a user. Like a great example is HubSpot. I don't think there are that many HubSpot users that are going to be searching for the HubSpot product itself on search. It's a CRM. There's dozens of ways, but they're not millions of ways. But HubSpot built SEO out of creating a product. The product is all their marketing content and, being marketing thought leadership. That's product-led SEO. So they built an entire product around it. So identify what that product is. Is there a reason people are going to be searching for what you do and experiencing what you do and then coming in and doing that, like some products can create a lot of thought leadership around what they do themselves, but some products are just a tool. Like think about it like it's a Swiss Army knife. Like how many ways are you going to optimize a Swiss Army knife? It has like, depending on which one you buy, maybe it has 30 tools on it. So you create a page for all 30 tools. And then like, well, here are all the things you could do with a knife, but the search ends really quick. Like there's 30 pages. That's about it. Maybe you can stretch it to 50, but if you can create experiences, now you're like, here's what you're going to do with a knife. You're going to go camping, or here's what you can do. You're going to cook a dinner. That's a totally different story. That's a product, right? So that's a product-led SEO is like, is there a user here that's going to be searching it and experiencing this and hopefully converting from it? Or are you just writing content for the sake of writing content?
What I really like, when I was working as VP product for Search Metrics, I also had to learn the ropes of product management, right? What I really liked is, getting to kickstart a product vision and coming up with an idea in which direction should the product go for the next 3 years, right? So you have your product vision. This is based on, user feedback, like how's the market developing, what is, in the backlog demanded by users and so on and so forth. So you're collecting all those ideas, and from that product vision, you build product strategy, actually. And from that product strategy, you build your roadmaps with your, related teams, so to speak, right? So, and what I really liked about it is that you always have to communicate it within the company so that everybody is aware, hey, this is the direction where we want to go with the product. This is the roadmap. These are the next features coming. This is the development we are going into. Now, if you just back to your quote, right? So if you start an SEO strategy, you could actually do the same, because you as an in-house SEO, let's take an in-house SEO, you are actually a politician within the company. You have to collect so many demands from other stakeholders. You as an SEO influence so many other departments and disciplines. And, at the end of the day, your goal is also to improve product quality. And therefore, I believe it should be on the SEO also to come up with a vision and therefore a strategy and build that roadmap, and then kind of align and connect with other teams on time, resources, and scope and stuff like that.
Absolutely. But you do realize how rare it is that SEOs are doing that. I find, and not to criticize SEOs, I love all SEOs out there, but I find that they buttonhole themselves too much into foot soldiers. They are not implementing a strategy. They're not creating a strategy. They're doing things. They show up in the morning and they're optimizing a title tag. They're optimizing a page. They're implementing like some structured data. They're following a Google best practice. Maybe they're sending out an email to the company and letting them know about a Google algo update. And by the way, anybody that sends out an email update to your company about a Google algo update, your boss does not care. Your CEO does not care about how it works. Just tell them how it matters to them. Just a hot tip for you. Like when I was at SurveyMonkey, whenever I'd send one of those updates, SurveyMonkey is a big brand. We didn't get hit by Google algo updates, but I sent an email and saying, huge news, Google updated their algorithm. It impacted 20% of results for the entire world. And we survived because nothing happened for us. So this is a huge win. So everything's a win. So like I'm communicating how it matters to them. And now they can come back and be like, we did well in the Google algo update. We didn't do anything. Nothing happened, not positive or negative, but that becomes a win. So if you're communicate on business terms. But like, I do find that many SEOs are foot soldiers and they get paid accordingly. And I've been posting all these things on LinkedIn about trying to help people find new jobs. Like I love matching people with new jobs and seeing them get huge raises. Like I got my own huge raises because companies value it. If you can create hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue, they're willing to give you tens of thousands of dollars of more in salary. So don't be a foot soldier. Do exactly what you said. Like come up with a vision and a product. Product-led SEO does not happen overnight. Saying, I would like to make 10 million pages. You can't do that in a weekend. That's really like in 18 months from now, I'm going to have launched 10 million pages. And in 3 years from now, we're going to see the results of it. It is a long-term view, but this is all about long-term staying power. But I do find that, with SEOs, like if you want to make big bucks and you want to get promoted or you want to be a consultant that gets paid well, you have to have that grand vision of, I'm not here to optimize this page. I'm not here to put image alt text on this single image. I'm not here to tell you that we now have moved up in our rankings report and we have more green than red today. It's about, I have said, I've taken the site from 50 pages and we now have 50,000 pages. And when you look at your results, you want a lot of zeros in front of your growth. Not like I've gained 16% this year. Like I have a client I'm working with, I'm up 400% this year on a very, very high base already. And from a traffic standpoint, it's huge. From a revenue standpoint, it's infinite because it was $0 before and now it's huge. So like if you're an SEO, think about how you can be have a grand vision and really change and think about, obviously if you're in marketing and your boss is the CMO, they're not going to take too kindly to like, I no longer wish to report to you. I'm now a product person. I'm reporting to product. Obviously it's not going to happen, but you could start thinking like a product person. And when your boss says, well, what are you doing this year? Instead of saying, I'm going to optimize 60 pages, say I'm going to optimize 60,000 pages. I'm going to build an entire new experience and content and do it scalably and we grow. I'm not going to get 10% more traffic. I'm going to get 1 million more dollars. That's how you turn heads. That's how you get promoted. That's how you get bonuses. And guess what? If you can't actually do it and your boss pats you on the head and you don't get that raise in a promotion, put that at the top of your resume, put that at the top of your LinkedIn, go to the next job. And instead of saying, what did I do? And I see this all the time in SEO resumes. What did you do at your job? I was responsible for 80 pages. Month over month, I've optimized my title tags and I got them underneath, 50 characters. No, you put at the top of your resume, I was at X company. And like for me, I was at SurveyMonkey. I was at SurveyMonkey for 7 years. When I started, they had $0, very close to $0 in organic revenue. When I left, they had $200 million. That's a really good headline. So put that as your headline. If your boss doesn't appreciate you, I guarantee you lots of other people will and will pay you accordingly.
But like to be able to also do product-led SEO, right? I mean, it's also like an organizational question. And I'm glad you covered it also in the book. Like from your standpoint, like if we could just say best case, where should SEO be integrated within the company? Or if you perfectly actually melt product and SEO into one team, that would be the ideal case. How could that look like? Like for what would SEO be responsible and for what would product be responsible within the team? And if you think about it from a process standpoint.
Where the person actually sits doesn't matter as much as what the pieces they control are. So like if you're on marketing, your colleagues are going to be designers and content writers and PR people and brand people. Those folks are inputs into SEO. So you can horizontally say, content writer, help me with content. PR person, help me with links. If you're on product, you have all these other resources around you. You're still tapping into the same marketing resources, but you now have engineering resources. So you could have a bigger vision. I've seen this over and over in my consulting where they want to do SEO, but they're lacking in the tools to do SEO. They don't have the CMS. So if you're on marketing, you can't even have that CMS conversation because marketers don't get to really buy products and don't get to work with engineers and implementing products. You fall at the bottom of the stack. You're making a request outside of your silo. When it comes to revenue reporting, if you're on product is always tied into revenue reporting, into data science and business intelligence. On marketing, less so. So semantics over where you're sitting, you can still sit in marketing if you can somehow get that responsibility for engineers carving out a certain amount of SEO time. If you can actually have data science build the reporting you want. I'm so surprised every time I go into a big company and they're completely unable to tell me how much revenue SEO is driving because no one ever built the report. They can't do it. They could look at Google Search Console and see the traffic, but they cannot tell you how organic users perform because they just don't know, right? So you can sit on marketing if you could build the right pieces into your funnel, into your job. But I do find on product, those pieces are already there. There is, I don't know how it is in Europe, but in Silicon Valley, there's this growth role, which is like the hybrid between product and marketing. That might be where it is, but it's not that popular outside Silicon Valley.
I mean, what I really like about product management in itself is like it always has the user in mind. Like when it's executed well, it always has the user in mind. And they have so many frameworks. They have so many tools actually that help them to structure like the way a user sees a product or uses a product. That's what I really like. And during my time, and I also did the product management studio at the UC Berkeley, and during that 3 months, there was always this product marketing canvas, which we, worked on. And I really like that because you have like those 4 dimensions, like for whom are we creating value? How are we creating value? How are we delivering value? And I think the 4th one is how are we capturing the value? So how can we sell it so that we make revenue? If you now apply this to an SEO strategy, and this could be keyword research, also feature planning and so on and so forth, how do you see that product marketing canvas being applied to SEO?
I mean, I think the place that SEO misses out the most is they think about rankings instead of users. So if that's what you should be doing. If you're creating a piece of content, and I don't think it's about creating a piece of content. And I talk about this all the time. When you're creating pieces of content, it's just not scalable. So say you create 10 pieces of content, and like there was a company I talked to, they spend $1,000 on each piece of content, $1,500 on each piece of content, and they could only physically create 10 pieces of content a month because that is just the output, 2 to 3 pieces per week per writer. Then you have to scale writers, and how many writers can you get? And then at some point you become a media company, and then is that what you want to be? You're a media company. Media companies don't do very well with driving revenue. If you think about the user and you think about something scalable as you're building it, you have to have the product marketing canvas because there has to be a user there. It has to be a reason. And if you look at so many products in the world, they get shut down because they're not adopted by users. The SEO should be the exact same thing. I'm building something for users. It didn't work. Move on to the next thing. Instead of I wrote the piece of content, here's my keywords, move on to the next one. Like that is not the way it should go.
I'm glad that you're mentioning this because that's also an example in your book, which I really liked, is about Drops, right? The company that you worked for. And like there's one sentence in the book where you said like, if Drops would have, they focus much more on the user, if they would have focused rather on keywords, then it wouldn't have been so successful as they are, right? And in SEO, there's this common sense of it depends, right? And I sometimes, and that's a bold question, but I sometimes just believe, they use this excuse of it depends because they are not talking to the users and they are not observing the market, right? Because then it would less depend because they would be certain if they would speak more to the user. And this is, again, the connection between SEO and also product management. Speaking more to the users means less depends.
Absolutely. And I never thought about it like this. So I hate that people use this, it depends. And of course I use it too, because you don't always know the right answer and you shouldn't always know the right answer. But I find that in SEO, there's a reluctance to give the right answer. So then it becomes a lack of confidence. So if you're a consultant and you use it depends, then your client will go find you someone else that will be more confident. If you are an employee and your boss asks you, it depends, then they're going to go hire someone else that can give an answer confidently. You could be wrong because people are wrong all the time, but just be confident and don't use it depends. When it comes to product management, I think when you apply product management over this concept of it depends, in product management, you come up with a hypothesis and you support the hypothesis. So you don't always have to be correct. You just say, I've done my research. Here's my hypothesis, and I'm going to build towards it. Could you fail? Hypotheses fail all the time. With SEO, you just say, what's my hypothesis of what will happen if I do X, Y, and Z? Do it. It doesn't work out. I was wrong. Instead of like, well, I don't know. There's all these things, so I can't really give a definitive answer here because Google might decide this. Give a definitive answer. Build something, do something.
I mean, for those listening, it might be still a bit abstract what we are talking about, you also have like great examples of product-led SEO successes, right? And here in Europe, everybody knows 3 examples of it. It's Amazon, it's Wikipedia, and TripAdvisor that you mentioned. Tell us like concrete, what did Amazon do right? Why are they so powerful today when it comes to SEO, product-led SEO?
Yeah, so I love Amazon, and I've been thinking about Amazon for so many years. So Amazon in particular, the way they set up the company and the way they set up their website was, how do you build the best hierarchy? How do you build the best taxonomy for products, for every product? And how do you build a great page? And how do you create that structure? And how do you create that internal linking? The internal linking is fantastic, right? Both for SEO and for conversions. You find one thing and they get you to buy another thing. They built that. Now fast forward to 2020, the most popular products on the internet, at least in America, were like hand sanitizers, gloves, masks, and like, I don't know, Chromebooks to kids to do Zoom school at home, right? But Amazon didn't use a crystal ball to say, how do we optimize for gloves in 2020? That's going to be really important. They put in effort into building a great SEO product that could surface as many things as possible in the top results without focusing on, I need to be number one for this. And here's my report about how I'm number one for this. And how do I build links to this? Because I need to be number one for this. They built that really, really good product. And if anybody thinks what they did is easy, no one else has been able to replicate it. There are, I don't know about Europe. I don't know about European e-commerce, but like here in America, we have Walmart. Walmart like had more distribution than Amazon forever, and they finally gave it up, and Amazon's now number one. Walmart partnered with Google in 2017 or 2016 to build. Walmart became the primary partner of Google Shopping Express. So Google was trying to build their own Amazon, but without being Amazon, they were using Walmart. So you can now go shopping on Google, and then Walmart would deliver it. If anybody had the recipe for unseating Amazon, it was Google, because it's Google, right? And like monopolistic, they've got their search, and now they can deliver those products from Walmart, who can do it the same day faster than Amazon because they are in stores and all that. And they couldn't do it because they couldn't build that good product. Amazon really, they set their minds to it 20 years ago, built out this great product. If you look at Amazon in what's it called? Archive.org. I always forget that because there's another name for it, right? So like you look at Amazon Archive.org, web machine, there you go, Wayback Machine. You go back there and you look at Amazon, it's the exact same thing as it is today, minus the 1999 colors, right? So like they set up that structure and built that structure and learned from like everything, and it continues today. TripAdvisor is the same thing. When TripAdvisor started, travel, like online travel, was very new, and there were a lot of travel blogs. There's still a lot of travel blogs now. They're travel Instagrammers. So instead of TripAdvisor going and saying, okay, here's the Waldorf in New York, we're going to build a great page and optimize to the Waldorf in New York, they built a great product structure to optimize for every single hotel in the world. For most of them, they're in the top 3 results. But they didn't try. They built a great product. So like that's product-led SEO. They didn't go and measure like, where am I ranking for Waldorf? And here's all the hotels, and let's make sure I'm moving up there. Like, how do I build a product that makes more of my pages be in the top results?
Absolutely. And I think from Wikipedia, like what I always see, and I think they made like it really smart, is the internal linking, right? That they have created this machine tagging system at the end of the day, where they really focus on I don't know the English word for it, but where they really focus on clustering organizations, name, people was born in that year, and like really manage to put internal linking within the text on the bottom and stuff like that, so that users can always click on the next article when something is not familiar to them. But also Google has tons of doors actually to crawl through the site and also get all the most important content, which is also related to it. I think that's the super smart approach that Wikipedia did, and from my perspective is actually the most success driver, aside from the content, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they built a great product structure instead of saying, how are we going to build specific things that are of high interest for people?
Last question that I have for you, Eli, is if we speak about product management, there's always this product, the product life cycle, right? So that famous chart, X-axis, you have the timeline. On a Y-axis, you have the sales are going up, and you start building a product, you're developing it, then you introduce it to the market, it gains growth, but then there's a point where you enter maturity and saturation, and then it starts declining. And that's actually then the phase where you either reboot or kill the product, right? If you now take this theory actually and adapt it to SEO, how could that look like?
So the product lifecycle, I think it's the exact same thing. It just happens to be content, and SEO is the channel where people are finding it. So you launch it, you come up with an idea, you're doing research, you start implementing it, and you're building it, and then things change, right? Like in the world, people are always going to be searching for different kinds of things. So then you have to revisit it and say, do you reboot this product or do you create another product? It's not, again, I think the entire concept of the way most people do SEO is set it and forget it, create the content, put it up there. This is a living, breathing thing that is a product. So revisit it. How are users experiencing it? Are they still converting from it? Are they still finding it? Does Google still like it? So living, breathing, continuing to layer on efforts around it, everything but set it and forget it.
Yeah. And I like to close with a quote again from your book where you say that the collective value of organic traffic in the world is more than $1 trillion. So there's enough opportunity actually to identify those opportunities, prioritize features, do resource planning and come up with an amazing product strategy from an SEO standpoint, product vision, and then also drive SEO within a company, which at the end of the day combines so many disciplines and departments into one strategy. Thank you very much, Eli. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Very inspirational. And for those who want to buy the book, I think it's on Amazon and everywhere where you can find books, called Product-Led SEO, written by Eli Schwartz. And with this, I'm ending this podcast. We see and speak next week again. I'm talking to Dr. Johannes Kötte, and we're talking about a combined EU compliant to the European Union, where product comparison websites have claimed that Google is not acting very friendly to them. And we are talking about exactly this, how it's going on Kurt, how the discussion with Google is going. And see and hear you next week again. Ciao.